Okay, welcome back. How's that light? Yeah, that one's doing something there. Um, Man, were those shelves filthy. So that's very satisfying, cleaning the goddamn shelf. Who knows how many years of dust bunnies. So we'll see what we can get through here. I am now sitting in a chair. I'm way more comfortable. This will be very rewarding. So let's just dive into it while everybody, if you're coming back, comes back. Chester Brown section of the library. Introduction by Robert Crumb. This is paying for it. Paying for it. I think they finished filming now. Sookie Lee was directing. They made a movie out of this book. I'm very, very curious to see how, not only how that goes, but how it's received and what that movie is like. This is one of my favorite books by Chester Brown, especially when you've kind of followed his career and the books and how he talks about relationships and how he talks about his his personal experience with pornography and things. This is a fascinating book to kind of come to, so to speak. I Never Liked You, Chester Brown. The Playboy. The Little Man. Some short strips from 1980 to 1995. 420. Welcome back. So good stuff there. Thought I had another, it might be somewhere else. Feet of Jesus or something. Mary Wept at the Feet of Jesus or something like that. That thinner, it was a thinner book. I'm pretty sure I've got that somewhere. Lord knows where it is. Some Seth stuff, of course. You can't have Chester Brown without some Seth right beside him. And then, of course, Seth's Dominion, National Film Board of Canada. And then there's I think this is the one that's backed with like a documentary film as well. Oops, what's going on here? Is this one? Yes. So my daughter and I went to see him when he came to McNally in 2019. I got him to sign two books for us, one to me and one to my daughter. So this one, he did a little sketch and signed it to me, which was incredibly nice. It was fantastic hanging out with him for a bit and chatting with him. Really interesting guy. I think a pretty fantastic cartoonist. But one of those guys where I could sit and listen to him. Even my wife, when he appeared recently on the Kayfabe channel, even my wife was like sat her ass down and listened to him talk. He's just such an interesting guy. This is Clyde Fans. I think this is the one that he signed for my daughter and did a sketch in. Let's just see if I can find it. I've shown it before, but I got to show it again. Where are we here? I thought it was near the front. Stand by. Sorry. Okay, so maybe it's at the back here. Yeah, here we go. So for Lillian, super nice of him to do that. Really great. And you can't have Chester Brown and Seth without having Joe Matt beside him. The poor bastard. R.I.P. Joe Matt. So fucking great. So great. And if we're going to go Canadian, we may as well stick with Canadian with some Mark Bell here. This is Shrimpy and Paul. I talked about it before. Shrimpy and Paul, two characters that appeared in what was this free monthly newspaper called Exclaim. It was mostly music based, but there was also movies, and then they had some comic strips, and they had a whole bunch of Mark Bell stuff, including a bunch of Shrimpy and Paul. I've still got a box full of those free magazines. I had scanned all of the comics as well too, and I put together a little collection of them for Earl Grey many years ago. Included it in a care package to him. And then staying Canadian, we saw some Cinema Sewer comics when we were going through the drawers. So I've got 3 of the collections. This is book 1 probably here. So from Fab Press. Book 2, and all this is just it's a collection of everything from the comics, and then I think he might have included some new material in with this as well too. So a good way to pick up Cinema Sewer. I got these first volumes, especially the first one, because it collected stuff from early on. I think it might have collected some stuff from the early issues that I don't have. The best of the first 12 long out of print issues of the magazine. Yeah, so that's why I got this first volume, because a bunch of those were just not available. So it's nice to kind of have those collected. Yeah, Nate Pancakes, how are you, man? Nice to see you. Yeah, Bougie's one of a kind. Pardon me, he's one of a kind. And then I got volume 3, and I just stopped picking them up because it was all in this of like, I've got all the issues. I didn't really feel it necessary to double dip because I'm not getting rid of the singles. And I could use the shelf space. And honestly, like, I mean, I'll probably end up keeping them, but there's a part of me that wants to maybe think about selling volume 2 and 3 since I have those singles. But like I said, I'd have to take a closer look at the back to see how much new material is collected in these books before I make a decision like that. Jared Osborne was talking about this recently on one of his Friday chats. Charlie's War, Pat Mills, and Joe Calhoun. Bought from a guy locally here on the Winnipeg Comic Addicts Facebook group. This is so fucking good. It's the only volume I have to this Titan books as well too. I know that there's been multiple collections of this. It's another reminder of like, I really should find some more of this because I absolutely loved this book. This is really great stuff in there. Children of the Night, Jan Sternad and Dennis Fujitaki, Tim Soliday, Fantagraphics books. I got it because of Jan Sternad and Fujitaki, but it's pretty bad. Yeah, every wall needs to be shelves. Honestly, upstairs, I was thinking at one point to do some shelving, like to build in some shelving into the walls, because we've got this sort of archway that leads from the living room into the dining room. And I was thinking I could even put like a shelf above that. And then I could also do it kind of floor to ceiling. We got a bunch of board games upstairs as well too, so it would give me some more space for books. I just never have gotten around to doing it. So the art in here is great. So there's some stuff by Tim Soliday, and then there's some stuff by Fujitaki. It's fine cartooning, but I don't think it's anywhere near close to the best stuff by either of them. So even if you are a fan, I wouldn't say you need to rush out and get this by any stretch. This is one that you can wait on, that if you ever find it for dirt cheap, that's probably the best way to pick it up for those completists out there. The only book of Nancy, this is Dreams and Schemes that I have. Always been curious about Nancy. This is what, book 3, Kitchen Sink Press. It's great. I would pick up more if I saw them, but it's not something I'm kind of rushing out there looking for. But this is really entertaining stuff. This I've had for an absolute lifetime. I think this came from Comics America as well too. Yeah, there's the Styx Comics price tag on the back. This is Seeing Things, the art of Jim Woodring. Unreal book. I think this one might be in another one that I've had forever. This one might be slowly splitting as well too, so I want to be a little careful with this. But it's all sorts of pieces of art in here, from kind of pencil to, is there even, Yeah, there's some color stuff in the back as well too. So I really want to be gentle with this one, because this one, even opening it this much, I can hear it making some scary kind of creaking noises. So, but there you go. Love Woodring. That's an amazing book. More Mark Bell, Pure Pajamas. Was this John and Quarterly? This one, yeah, D&Q. Highly recommended. I mean, Mark Bell is just so goddamn good. Just a very fun cartoonist with some real just silly, bonkers kind of comic strips. He did an interview with Ethan Van Sciver. Noah Van Sciver, now I am confused. I always get confused now. I never used to, but now I get confused between. It's the good Van Sciver anyway, that did an interview with him. That's well worth watching on his channel for some Mark Bell. Some more stuff from a local guy. Amazing stuff. He had a bunch of stuff he was looking to sell, and he kind of made an offer to me first. You know, if you want any of this stuff, I'd sell to you instead of putting it online and things. So we made a deal. I think I sold him some books. He sold me some books, but this stuff is just bonkers and so much fun. I'm pretty sure Chippendale and those kind of guys appear in this as well too. So this is Hospital Brute 8. Book 2 of Wild, that was it self-published or Floss? Yeah, Floss Editions is who put this one out in 2020. There was a first volume that is so long out of print that it's impossible to find. I love this book. There was a collection from Oni Press, which I'll show you in a second, but I think this one is better. I like the coloring in this one better. I like the paper quality in this one better. Everything about it. I just really enjoy this, but I had to get the collection because I wanted to have the entire story. This is Christian Castello. So this is Wild Volume 1, which collects those first 2 books from Oni Press. And it's just the colors just don't do it for me as much on the white paper. I like the kind of off-white paper. I like the way the colors pop in the other one. It was Tony the Tiger on the back cover. They used him, I guess, as their mascot for Floss Editions. But yeah, that is a version of Tony the Tiger there. So while I would say it's a goddamn good book, and yes, for sure, buy the Oni Press. If you ever see the other stuff, the self-published stuff, jump on it. It's just better. I wish they wouldn't have. And it's Christian Castello himself who recolored it, so it's not like they took it over and decided to recolor it. I just really, I don't know, man. Personally, as just some guy sitting in his basement looking at books on a shelf, I wouldn't have fucking touched it. Thought it was perfect the way that it was. The Oddly Compelling Art of Dennis Kitchen. Put that down there so things don't fall. Then we got a bunch of books back here. I'm a big Larry David fan. I was born in, hold on a sec here. I was born in Cereal City, aka Battle Creek, home of Kellogg's. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love Larry David. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's a final season coming. I haven't seen the last few seasons, if I'm honest. I love the early stuff. I think he's really funny. I don't know. I don't know if I'll watch any of the newer seasons, but I do love the man. What do we got here? Ooh, Erotic Movies by Richard Wortley. With no cover. I think this was from, yeah, this one was absolutely from Red River Books. So Brigitte Bardot, all sorts of good stuff in here, talking about stuff that's a little more adult movie in nature. perfect hangover show. Yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, Larry, why, you bald fuck? Shock value. John Waters, fucking huge John Waters fan. Yeah, huge John Waters fan. Enough said. This is an interesting one. Hips Road. Is Hips Road associated with Zadok Records as well? So, a book edited by John Zorn, who we talked about in the first video there. There's Arcana, Musicians on Music. There's a whole bunch of great people in here. Avon Kang, Mike Patton, Mark Ribot, Elliot Sharp, Zev, John Zorn, John Oswald, Bob Ostertag, Akui Mori, etc., etc. George Lewis, Mark Dresser, Bill Frisell, Fred Frith. It's a who's who of kind of New York experimental and jazz kind of musicians. Just talking about music. I've had this for a lifetime as well too. So pretty amazing stuff in there. Another one I think I got when I lived in Ontario, Behind the Pink Curtain. So there was all these. This is by Jasper Sharp. I think Jasper Sharp. Does he now work with Vinegar Syndrome or one of those kind of companies? I'm not sure, but there was a whole era of Japanese cinema that were like pink movies, and they started getting a bunch of releases at a certain time, like 2000, 2001-ish, sometime around then. Then there was some books that came out about that type of cinema. So, yeah, this is Fab Press as well. So, like the bougie stuff, this is Fab Press, and this just goes through the pink and erotic Japanese cinema with a bunch of great stills and posters and ads and stuff in the middle. So pretty great stuff. If you're into that sort of filth. I said I liked Takashi Miike. This is Agitator, a book about Miike and all the films that he'd done up to this point. That's Audition on the front. Stellar movie. And again, Fab Press. There's Ichi the Killer on the back there. So a nice thick volume going through his film career. And yet another one, not from Fab Press. This is by Chris D, though, another name that was kind of infamous for this type of film, like doing liner notes and documentaries and stuff too. He might work for one of these kind of boutique Blu-ray labels now. This is Outlaw Masters of Japanese Film. This one is pretty good as well. Oh yeah, this is different than the one I was thinking of. Interviews. Oh, interview with fucking Sonny Chiba there. Yeah, so there you go. I was subscribing to, jotting down notes for more movie books to buy. Yeah, no, perfect. I was subscribing to the experimental music magazine called The Wire for quite a few years. And then they did a Undercurrents, this book, The Hidden Wiring of Modern Music, a series of essays by some of the best music writers of our time. Undercurrents identifies the key concepts and underlying themes that have been hardwired into the modern era's most radical musics, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, big supporter of The Wire. I've still got all those magazines. It's a magazine that's still being published. It's based out of the UK. They always focused on some fantastic experimental musicians in all sorts of areas, not just kind of the really extreme experimental music, but all sorts of things, electronic music as well too. 100 Years of Japanese Film, a stellar book by Donald Ritchie. Again, not Fab Press. Again, something I would have bought in Ontario. When that time that we lived in Ontario, when we lived in Kitchener-Waterloo, that was the time where a good friend of mine that I worked with really introduced me to a whole bunch of amazing cinema. And he was a big collector of especially Criterion collections. So we used to go weekly and hang out together, drink scotch and watch movies. And he turned me onto a load of stuff. And Kitchener-Waterloo was an amazing town to kind of get this kind of stuff too. There was a couple of really good stores in town that would not only sell but also like rent some really exceptional films. So it was really rewarding to kind of dive into this stuff. And the Japanese cinema is something that's always spoken to me differently than a lot of cinema from other parts of the world. Feral House, Josh Allen Friedman, Tales of Times Square, fantastic book. The infamous, ever listen to the late Johan Johansson? Lots of great stuff outside of his film scores too. I don't know, the name doesn't sound immediately familiar, but I will absolutely check him out there, Nate. So talking about 42nd Street in the 70s when it was filled with smut and filth and all sorts of nastiness. So really, really good book here. What's this? Oh, not a postcard. I thought maybe it was a postcard, because some of these books I can't remember. I thought it was this one that I bought right from him, but maybe it wasn't. Anyway, yeah, Feral House, Adam. Yeah. I might have some more. Whoops, I might have some more Feral House somewhere here as well too. But Coen Brothers interviews. Talked about the Coen Brothers many times before. I fucking love the Coen Brothers. I love their movies. I know that there's a whole faction of people that think that they're kind of overblown and whatever else words you want to tag onto it. Fuck those people. I mean, you can absolutely have your opinion. You're wrong though. From like a filmmaking standpoint, I would say like they're incredible filmmakers. I do understand some of the arguments on the other side. I'm just being an asshole, but I do understand some of the arguments from that side, that school of thought. I just strongly disagree with them. I think they're very important in the world of film, and I think they're fantastic writers. Sound Effects Bible. There's something I got a number of years ago. Rick Veers, How to Create and Record Hollywood-Style Sound Effects. I just thought it would be an interesting resource to kind of read and kind of help me in my own kind of recording and things. This is Creation Books, Killing for Culture, an illustrated history of death film from Mondo to snuff. So that kind of extreme. Yeah, absolutely. Each movie is different, but still really bears their mark. Like they leave a very strong mark on their movies. I thought I had an Italian cannibal movie book as well too. It might be on the other shelf. It might be on the red shelf, which we'll do maybe next week or something. Have a look at that shelf. But some good stuff in there. What are these last two? Not Simply Divine. Again, big fan. So it's a fantastic biography. I was just looking at that online and debating it. That Killing For. Okay, I'll show you some of the interiors too. So Cronenberg on Cronenberg. Enough said. Cronenberg's a fucking master. Let's have a look through a couple of pages of Killing for Culture. I think there was a whole section with some photos. Let's have a look. Oh, Jesus, yeah. The infamous. What the hell was the senator's name that killed himself on TV, on live TV? So here's this chapter is Death in the Media. Dwyer, Bud Dwyer or something. Wasn't that his name? So yeah, I have not seen, and it's my own fault. I have not seen Cronenberg's son. I really need to rectify that, because the trailers and from what I've heard from about those movies, that they're amazing stuff. Yes, Bud Dwyer. Oh man, Bud. Yeah, I mean, it's an infamous piece of footage. I think it's used. One of my favorite Japanese grindcore bands called Disgust. They have this split with a band called Hemdale, and they use the sample from that Bud Dwyer at the beginning of their side of the 7-inch. So what other chapters? Death film. Oh geez, no low power mode. I'm at 10% here, people. So if all of a sudden I disappear, it's just because my phone has died. So there you go. Nate. That's a kind of look through some of the interiors there. Yeah, it dives all into that Mondo movie world, which is a pretty fascinating time in kind of Italian movies as well. Mondo films, and of course the cannibal films, Cannibal Holocaust I saw on there. Yeah, so a nice happy Sunday read. Let's go through this one. Let's see if we can make it through this. If, like I said, if I disappear, my phone has died. I apologize. If my phone does die, I will not be back. So wherever we end up is where we're going to end up tonight. Pup Sean, Push Paw, some more Jim Woodring. I think, again, shout out to Donald Rex. I think he showed this in one of his videos too. Cronenberg in Jason X, best cameo ever. Amazing. I didn't know that he made that cameo. David Lynch as John Ford in The Fabelmans is a great cameo. Oh, nice. I like me some Herzog in the Star Wars universe. What was he in? Wasn't he in Mandalorian or something? That's a pretty good cameo. That was a bit of a surprise. Dashiell Hammett and Alex Raymond, Secret Agent X9, the only book I have of that. One of the best books ever. What is this? Dream of the Bat by Simmons and Keck. If you don't know this, do yourself a favor and just get this. Oops, sorry. Bumping you there. This will probably be a quick shelf. It doesn't look like there's anything behind. This is the Incal black and white, I think, right? Is this the one that they did in black and white? Yes, it is. Yeah. So bigger than the other Incal versions from Humanoids as well, but the black and white version. And then, of course, the Incal proper. One of the printings of it. The Meta Barons. I think this collects everything in this one, doesn't it? This one is great. Jodorowsky and Book, Bouncer. Really, really great from Humanoids there. Well worth your time. Paramus by Alberto Breccia. Another Fantagraphics book. Rasa and I were just talking about this in our chat last Sunday. Monsters. Dream of the Bat, Chef's Kiss. Absolutely. Monsters, Barry Windsor Smith. This is a fucking phenomenal book. And again, it's one of those that if you haven't read it, I would strongly recommend it. The only volume of Herman's Jeremiah that I have, there was a few volumes from Dark Horse. Was there 3 or 4? I don't remember. I've got a couple of them digitally that I've been starting to kind of poke through. I love Jeremiah. I love Herman's art. Love everything about this book. Halfway through. Oh, you're halfway through Monsters right now. Yeah, it's a brutal read, man. It's not the happiest book in the world, that's for sure. But goddamn, is it ever well done. Except for one part, which I won't say just in case you haven't, if you haven't made it to that part yet. Fantastic Four, Full Circle, Alex Ross. I got this because of his use of color in here. Is pretty great. Sort of taking from like almost like the black light type of world there that Jim Rugg and people were doing at the time, or trying to get more black light conducive coloring going on. I don't know if there was ever a plan to do some more from this line, but I really hope that there is more to come from this. What the hell was it? Marvel and Abrams comics art. Gore saying Monsters was exceptional. Yeah, wonderfully painful. Absolutely. Like the Meta Barons. Yeah, Trotz and Bonnie. Another one that I would strongly recommend. Sherry Flanagan. This is great stuff. Trotz and Bonnie is fantastic. Kept me from going through the National Lampoons to read it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. And then finally for this stream, it's the only book that I have from the Collected Topi, but it's a good one. Galaxy Comics, one of the shops that I have a little pull list, has another, I think maybe at least one. I thought maybe they had 2 volumes, so I could get some more. It's just, again, shelf space, but it's a good book. Topi is a fantastic, or was a fantastic artist. This is really good stuff. And with that, before my phone dies, I'll say an official good night. Thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out in these couple of streams. Good to see you all. I hope there were some books that kind of piqued your interest. I'll be back probably next week. We'll look at the top couple of shelves. I'm sure there's a ton of shit behind those books. And eventually we'll go over to the red shelf as well, too. And I'll show you those. But again, that'll probably be next week. All right. Good night, everybody.